Can't ever take it slow. Got that fire roar. Wheels of fury tear the track. Hear that engine soar. Lean back, shifting gears, push it to the core. Killer Kyle on my tail. Feel the tension roar. Ain't no rules in this game. Every breath I fight. Pound the pedal, scream for speed through the endless night.
Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. Hi, and also the last installment of Look Back at 1991.
Right.
We're only 3 months late.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, that it was later than that, but it wasn't.
No.
But yeah, we're gonna talk of exactly
UWF Beach Brawl from 1991.
Yep.
And you know, I had heard a lot about UWF and how good it was and the talent that they had there. And they did have a lot of talent. A lot of familiar faces and some new ones. This show was...
Yeah, you got that right. I mean, and the unfortunate part is too, is you watch the whole show, you see the card, and it's like an obituary pay-per-view. A lot of these people are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because, well, whether, you know, it had anything to do with any illegal substances or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, this was terrible. You have one, maybe two good matches on this show.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, this... If I paid, and I don't know how much tickets were back then.
Yeah.
If I paid, like, 50... $100, let's say, a ticket, and I saw this, I'd want a refund.
Yeah, I mean, the matches were mediocre at best. The look back at were fucking terrible.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to one when we get to one.
Yeah. There is one interesting element of this show that I'll bring up when we get there.
Pitter patter, let's get at it. We didn't see the pre-show. Boris Zukov versus Paul
Sampson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Boris Zukov, we all know as one half of the Bolsheviks. Volkov. Yeah,
Okay.
Boris Zukov.
That's right.
Nikolai
Yes.
Volkov for the Bolsheviks.
Yes.
And Paul Sampson, not really familiar with Paul. I mean, maybe, but like, I don't think so.
Nah, yeah. Well, anyways.
And Boris got the win in this match.
Yep.
Then we go on to Arch, Apocalypse, and Destruction was WHEELZ taking on Free, Firecat, and Jim Cooper. Now, of course, we all know WHEELZ, hell of a wrestler, managed a laundry list of the yard long and a mile wide of wrestlers.
Yep.
And one thing that was really interesting to me was, okay, this was back in 1991. She was in the WWF in 93, so this was 2 years before she was in the WWF. And everybody knows her. She had the mullet, mohawk, I'll call it.
Yeah.
It was a mohawk and then longer in the back. And she had like the lightning bolt. I don't think it was tattoos. I think it was just like drawn on and like lightning bolts all over her face and whatever. Of course, she had that deep, gravelly voice. Here she had, I'll put it, a full head of hair.
Yeah.
And long, fairly long, curly blonde hair. And she actually looked really good.
Yeah.
With that hair.
I think when you look at, and I mean, you can watch The Dark Side of the Ring if you want.
Right.
If you already haven't, but Lillian Vachon was one of those wrestlers, one of those people, rather, that could have gotten help when she should have.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the talent that she had, whether she was a manager or a wrestler, and if she were alive today, like,
oh, she would be hands down one of the great. She already was one of the best managers. She easily could have been, you know, one of the greatest managers of all time. And like, just think, like, have her a part of, let's say, the Final Testament.
holy shit! Could you imagine that? Like, I know that Scarlett's already there, but could you imagine Luna Vachon in the Final Testament, or even better, well, maybe not, I don't know, the Wyatt Six?
Yeah.
But if she was still here, yes, she would do much better, I think.
Like, if she was still alive today, the potential for her is sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, being father of Maurice Vachon, Mad Dog, and of course, her father Paul, the Butcher, and now all three of them are together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, what could have been.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at wrestling back then. I mean, we're gonna see another wrestler come up to a famous rock and roll band, but this was still at a time where you had wrestlers come up to rock and roll bands.
Yeah, the early. I mean, you know, we've talked quite a bit about ECW and how you had, you know, the Sandman come out to Enter the Sandman by Metallica, or Rob Van Dam come out to Walk by Pantera, or Tommy Dreamer come out to
Man in the Box.
Man in the Box by Alice in Chains. You know. Okay, so you had Paul Orndorff come out to You Can't Touch This
By MC Hammer.
by MC Hammer. You had Dr. Death Steve Williams, who's in a match for the main event, come out to
Back to the Bone.
Back to the Bone. And you also had
The Black Hearts come out to Perfect Strangers by Deep Purple.
okay, that's not the one I was thinking of.
Oh,
There was another one,
okay.
and I'll probably think of that. Think of it when we get there.
But it just goes to show you that,
Oh,
shit, even back then, like, there was that connection with music and wrestling.
yeah.
Very cool. And this was a good match as well.
It's a pretty good match.
I have no idea what the fuck the Black Hearts were wearing on their face,
Yeah.
and how they could see, but
How they could see or how they could fucking breathe.
they won the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was even a superplex by one of them. Right. But besides this match, obviously we don't know too much about the tag teams.
No.
So now we'll go on to this match. We've got Terry Bam Bam Gordy versus Johnny Ace.
People power!
Hell yeah. In a Falls Count Anywhere match.
It was a street fight.
Whatever. Nothing fucking happened, really.
Yeah, I mean... They went at it in the ring. They sort of started off as a pretty good match.
Yeah.
They went out of the ring. They're fighting through the stands. And the match ends in a double count out. It's like... Did somebody forget the rules of street fight? Because they said there's no rules, there's no disqualification. There's also usually no count outs in a street fight, but apparently they didn't think of that one.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shitballs.
Pretty much. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with that company, and I've seen a lot of reviews where UWF was basically shit on because their tiny owner was a fucking cokehead and didn't know what he was doing. And this match is a prime example. You got a fucking Falls Count, okay, whatever match, and it's a disqualification.
Yeah, or you have a match that is like, oh, no rules and no disqualification, anything goes. But apparently they only had one rule. You couldn't get counted in, which is like, fuck you. Up the ass with the 2x4.
I mean, this is Terry Gordy, for God's sake.
I know.
Bad Street USA. And you put him in this? And I mean, look, there's a guy that, we talk about Luna.
Yes.
This is somebody that had a good career, with the Freebirds in Japan.
Uh-huh.
Fucking teaming with Dr. Death.
Oh, yeah.
And if that accident, if that overdose didn't happen,
Yeah.
imagine the career he would have had.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine fucking Terry Gordy in today's WWE?
I mean, the fact that he was brought back to the WWF as the executioner was just sad.
Yeah.
Because of what we know now,
Yeah.
basically. So, then of course Johnny Ace, didn't really watch any of his matches, so when he came back to WWE, like all I knew of was that he was Joe's brother. So,
Yeah, he was Joe's brother, Road Warrior,
Yeah.
brother. He wrestled here in the UWF, I don't know for how long. He also wrestled a little bit in WCW. He was tag team partners with Shane Douglas.
yeah,
They were, can't remember their name, the team of their name.
yeah.
The team of their name, the name of their team. Then, of course, we all know about his time as Raw, he was like Raw General Manager or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, he was vice president of talent relations at that point, and everything that happened with him and Vince, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. We're gonna go on to another tag team match. There's quite a few tag team matches.
Yeah.
So.
It's that Teddy Long promoted this thing.
You have the team of Masked Confusion, Dave Bryan, Blair, and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, taking on the Power Twins, Larry and David Power. Now, of course, we know Brian and Jim as, of course, the Killer Bees and the WWF. even before Jim partnered with Brian, he partnered mid 80s, early 80s with Greg Gagne.
Oh, yeah. AWA.
Yep.
It's the first tag team that I noticed that are identical twins.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was a really good match too. And, you know, you talk about WWF, well, I mean, later on, WWE,
Yep.
with their, hey, let's bring somebody in from another company and change their name completely.
Yeah.
You know, the Killer Bees were like one of the top take teams of the late 80s, which I
Yeah.
didn't really know about when I was little, so there was that. But I mean, they still had their outfit on, they still wore their masks near the end of the match.
Yeah.
One of the twins got work done by the Killer Bees
Yeah.
on the leg, but that didn't affect them.
Well, they were working over both the twins, doing making a wish and
Yeah,
doing a double spinning toe hold and all sorts of stuff.
yeah.
And then, the twins did get the upper hand on Brian and Jim, and then, of course, they go in there and grab the max, throw them on, and pick up the victory over the twins.
I mean, that was a good match too.
Yeah.
I like take teams that wear the same uniform.
Yeah.
And don't know anything about the twins. What are their names again?
Larry and David Power.
Yeah,
I don't really know too much about the Power Twins.
but obviously know a lot about Killer Bees. So I'm not quite sure how long they stayed in UWF.
Yeah.
For the inaugural UWF Ladies title, we've got Rockin' Robin versus Divine.
Of course, Rock and Robin wrestlers in the WWF a little bit later in the 90s. And we've talked about this before. The sister of Jake Roberts
Yes,
and Sam Houston.
that's right. This was an okay match.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it was your typical women's match of the early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, like, couldn't really give a shit less.
Yeah.
As much as Rockin' Robin was a good wrestler,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just there, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
she did win the title,
Mhm.
so
Yeah. Then we go on to the strap match. Orndorff and Colonel De Beers. So, let me get this straight. A strap match usually is you got 25 foot strap, let's say. Each wrestler has one end of their strap around their wrist, and they go to war. They blood each other, they whip each other with the strap, they choke each other with the strap, they low blow each other with the strap, they do anything and everything you can think of with the strap, and even maybe other weapons may get involved, a chair, or a table maybe, whatever. But this was just a strap. It's like, okay boys, how about her? And that's what the referee literally did. He tossed it up in the air like a fucking jump ball at a basketball game. And it's like, okay. And like the fucking beginning, before the match, like, oh, here's what happened, here, what led us to the match. Paul Orndorff and Colonel De Beers. And, you know, they show Colonel De Beers beating the piss out of cover referees during matches and nothing to do with Paul Orndorff. So what the fuck was that all about? Colonel De Beers beating the piss out of referees, kicking them, stomping them, whatever the fuck. And Paul Orndorff is just there to just be there, like in the like. What the fuck was the purpose of the strap match? What the fuck was the purpose of the strap? And what the fuck was Paul Orndorff in this match? Like, it made no sense at all. It was a great match. Well, yeah, it was a decent match. But like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's the problem. Once again, there's no structure. There was no structure with the fucking street fight, and there was no structure with this. This was absolutely garbage. And you pissants know better than this. Once again, this is Paul fucking Orndorff.
Yeah.
This guy was in the WWF, WCW, wherever else.
I think he might have wrestled on the AWA or NWA.
Yeah, NWA, yes, he
NWA,
was the take champs with Superfly.
Right, yeah.
And you put him in this? Anyways. Match, we've got Bob Backlund versus Ivan Koloff. This was a palate cleanser.
Yeah, I mean, two well-established veterans of the business, legends of the business. I do believe they call this a legends match. You know, both wrestled in the WWF.
Yes.
Back in the 70s. You know, we didn't talk about this, but you had Bruno Sammartino on the call for this match, and you know, so him and Bob and Koloff were, you know, all from that era, and Bob Backlund, he came out to, what was he came out to?
It was some kind of, it was, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like a presidential thing. Theme song or something.
Something like that, yeah. It was like, yeah, you have Paul Orndorff come out to You Can't Touch This. You got, you know, like I said, Dr. Death Steve Williams coming out to Back to the Bone, and you had Bob Backlund coming out to, I can't remember what the song was.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Matt said, the Blackguards came out to
Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers. But
Yeah.
This was a pretty good match for what it was.
Yeah, it was. And, I mean, we're watching a match and Bob Backlund power lifts Ivan over his head.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that scrawny kid's lifting up that big man, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, no, Bob's like 42 at this point, so he was still scrawny and youthful looking, so...
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, this is like, again, we're going to talk about Wayne Pachon. 2 years later, Bob Backlund, well, actually, no, a little, I think it was like November 92, he made his return to WWF.
Yeah.
So, again, this was a very good match, and I mean, easy to watch.
Yeah.
Compared to the other shit we saw, but
yeah. We talk about, though, Bob picking up Ivan is like, Bob wasn't, you know, jacked to the nines and, you know, super defined muscle-wise, but his strength was unmatched.
oh god, yeah. I just want to send our thoughts out to Backlund, who is, from what I understand, battling dementia. So it's never easy. I mean, Terry Funk just had that and passed away not too long ago.
Yeah.
So we don't. I mean, we don't wish it, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah. Before I say something wrong.
Match. You got the team of Wet Wild, Steve Ray and Sunny Beach. They took on Cactus Jack and Ace Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. Wet Wild, boy, that sounds like something you see at spring break.
Yes, sir. Isn't that funny? Cowboy Bob and Orton and Cactus Jack. I mean, you look at these two guys, and again, Bob Orton's one of those guys that teamed with Paul Orndorff
Yeah.
back in the 80s, the mid 80s, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at Mick Foley's career. And again, when I started watching wrestling, kind of forgot that he had a lengthy career in the late 80s.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, yeah, this was awesome. And I think, you know, you look at these two guys, especially, and yeah, that coach dude was put in that cage.
Yeah, John Total?
Yeah.
Total? Yeah.
And of course, Mick Foley did his patented elbow off the top rope on outside.
Yeah, usually he would, you know, jump, like, be standing on the apron and jump off the apron and do the elbow. He did this off the fucking top rope
Yeah.
to the floor.
Wet and Wild ended up winning. I will say, though, that Cactus did get busted open.
Yeah, Cactus got busted. Well, the referee got knocked down and Coach John Tolis, tossed a set of brass knucks to Bob. Bob put him on his hand. Cactus was holding Sonny or Steve, whatever the fuck. And the doctor, Bob clocked Cactus, and then, you know, that gave Wet Wild the win. And then, of course, Bob and Cactus are going at it, throwing hands and fighting out of the ring, in the ring, out of the ring, all finally go, you know, backstage and whatever. Yeah, they beat the hell out of each other.
I feel like they had a match. Of course, didn't see it. But you look at Mick Foley, well, Cactus Jack, rather, because he would be going on to WCW. And this did happen on my birthday in '92. Big Fan Vader versus Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had a lengthy career in WCW. Then he went to ECW. And Japan, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, WWF. So, and TNA.
Yeah.
So all these companies he's been in, and it's like, no wonder this guy's a fucking Hall of Famer.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's crazy to think that this match was 5 years, 6 years? No, 5 years before he debuted in the WWF.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, this guy pretty much made hardcore wrestling popular in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's Terry Funk, there's fucking ECW.
Yeah.
I don't know that ECW would exist if it weren't for Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the promotion offhand. MLW? No.
No, it wasn't ML, it was like MWC, no. MWC? Or MW something.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was.
But yeah, a pioneer in that style of wrestling for sure.
Yeah.
The main event for the inaugural UWF Sports
UWF Sports Channel Television Championship.
Steve Williams, Dr. Death versus Bam Bam Bigelow, the Beast from the East.
Yeah.
And I was watching, we were watching an interview with Bam Bam in the beginning
Yeah.
of the video, and I said to Kyle, that's the first interview I've seen from him where it's not a shoot interview,
Yeah.
where he looks actually chill.
Well, yeah, like you look at any, interview Bam Bam did throughout his career, and, the WWF or whatever, he was like intense and loud and yelled and, whatever else. This, he was like monotone.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe he also wrestled in Texas, I think.
Yes.
I believe he wrestled in Dallas. I think it was from USWA.
Okay, yeah, he did.
And like, he was very like monotone during those like interviews and stuff like that as well. And here he was like, man, it's like, is this the same dude? Like it's been about Bigelow was like, where's the intensity? Where's the, I'm gonna whoop your ass, boy.
And this was a guy too that in the late 80s, and this comes full circle to what I said with Mick Foley. I didn't know that Bam Bam Bigelow wrestled in the 80s.
Right, yeah.
Not only that, but he was a face,
Yeah.
and he teamed with Hulk Hogan,
Uh-huh.
and he was in the first Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy shit. But this match was bloody, it was brutal. I mean, both these guys got busted open.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what do you expect? These two guys wrestled in New Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So, they're gonna pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
And, yeah. One power slam. And the winner and the new champion, Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, it's one of those things too. It's like, you look at these guys and you go, and yes, I know that Steve had cancer,
Right.
but it was like, okay, that's a what if situation.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part is that his legacy, whether you want to go there, is being knocked out by Bart Gunn.
I guess.
I mean, you can say that if you want, but if not, you can choose to go to his New Japan career.
Like, that one moment, in my opinion, doesn't define
No.
Dr. Death's career. What defines his career is, the stuff he did, like you said, in Japan. His big, his heated rivalry with Bam Bam Terry Gordy.
Yes.
Then, of course, later on teaming up with him, all the stuff he did in, USWA and, several other promotions he worked for. Like, that one moment is in time.
Yeah. That's a bad example.
It's kind of remembered, but, like, it's not, You don't, and the things that you talk about when you mention Dr. Death Steve Williams, that's like very low on the list.
Yeah.
You're more likely going to remember his rivalry with, Terry Gordy over there, the Texas Heavyweight Championship, and various other championships he held, and, his time in Japan, and so on and so forth.
Well, this was another episode of Wheels of Fury, and the last installment of Look Back at Your series. This year, we'll try to pick it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Once again, it is difficult when we have to do, like, prediction videos and things like that.
Yeah. You know, we enjoy doing these look back at videos, and the look back at year series has been a lot of fun. It's just finding, getting the time, between pay-per-views and, doing prediction videos to do a video for the look back at year series. So, we got it done finally.
I mean, look, I was going to do a CMLL one, but I found this one instead.
Right.
And I finally found a video. As I said to Kyle, that's kind of half the stuff about getting video footage or the whole show.
Yeah, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
We pick, 3 promotions to talk about for said year, and, finding a video of the show, or even finding, a highlight package for it. Sometimes we've been able to get away with it and, find, let's say, a video of the show and watch the show, or even a highlight package and, watch the highlight package and then kind of go from there. But other times it's been a fucking shit show. That's when we kind of gotta go, alright, throw caution to the wind and hope for the fucking best.
Pretty much. I mean, this show was...
Sure, I'd like to forget.
You had a match that shouldn't have existed. You had a strap match that... I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. You had 2 good matches on that show. And if it wasn't for that 12-year-old man-child who does more blow, that would make David Bowie and Rick James run for their money. They can't come out there and say, hey, sorry guys, you better start that match again.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. I don't know any other company that was at that worse of shape. People talk about Tony Khan and AEW, have no clue about Abrams and UWF.
Yeah, people talk about Tony Khan and how bad of a job he's doing and how in bad a shape AEW is right now. I mean, there are some things where you kind of gotta go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But at least AEW seems to have their shit together better than this fucking company did.
Mm.
At least the fucking owner's not doped out of his fucking mind.
Look, I know that we're not in the business, and I know Brian Zane is, but I feel bad that he had to review some of this shit too.
I know. Fuck.
But, well, I made up the year for to look back at, so I'm going to turn it on to my dude here.
Yeah, so for the next year, for Look Back at Year series, have we done anything for like 2005?
I don't believe so.
The reason why I bring that up is because I saw a video on Instagram earlier today, and I sent it to Matt. I believe it was from 2005, or it may have been earlier. Anyways, I think it was from 2005. It was Death Before Dishonor 4. It was Combat Zone Wrestling versus Ring of Honor. And I said to Matt, we should talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm curious.
I think it was 2006.
2006?
Yeah.
I was just gonna. So yeah, that was from 2006. We can, talk about that show a different time. Yeah,
Alright.
Year, look back at your series.
Yeah, because we did do 2006. I think
Right.
2005 was actually an interesting year. Like, I know there was a lot of WWE pay-per-views and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, yeah, alright. That sounds good. Until then, we do have the Royal Rumble. It's on next week.
It's next Saturday, February the 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Jesus.
a week today is the 31st.
Oh, wow.
Almost the end of the month already.
Yep. Wow. And I don't know of any matches that have been. Well, there's the WWE Championship match,
Yeah.
which won't be good as well, but. Anyways. Well, that's going to be a good show to do predictions on anyway.
Right.
So, for me and Matt, this is Killer Kyle. And we will talk to you next week.
Later.
Bang bang!
The wheels of fury, they spin, they roar. Never halting. The end's now calling.